I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be excessive contact causes rejection. Well, what I'm going to look at today is what happens when you call a woman excessively or you text excessively and you beat around the bush and basically don't get to the point when it comes to asking her out. And a lot of guys, what they miss when they start talking with women is women give off subtle cues and signs that say, hey, I'd like to get together with you. Hey, we should hang out. Or they mention coming over to your house or something along those lines, or making you dinner or whatever it happens to be. And a guy just hears those things and he just discounts them and ignores them and dances around in circles as opposed to just jumping on it as an opportunity, because what she's basically doing is communicating that she has romantic interest in you and would like to hang out and do something together with you socially, either if it's somebody you know, maybe hang out at your place, or maybe if it's somebody you just met, maybe go and hang out and have a drink together. But to right there on the spot, take initiative, take action, and actually ask for her phone number, or even better, ask her out for a date right on the spot. Because where a lot of guys get things wrong is because you got to keep in mind, women are always looking for those 97% of the other guys out there that don't understand them so they can blow them off, reject them, and move on. And so when a woman communicates interest to a guy, she's looking to see what he does with it. Does he take the initiative and actually plan a date? Does he make something happen? Or does he see it and then start changing his behavior and acting different than what he already is because he's unsure how to be when a woman expresses romantic interest in him? And if you start calling and texting a woman excessively without getting to the point and asking her out on a date, she'll perceive you as being weak and reject you. And if you beat around the bush or she throws a hint out there and you don't take advantage of it, she'll reject you then as well, because women women are biologically driven to mate with the most dominant men. Why? Well, if they mate with the most dominant males, just like in the animal kingdom, the most dominant males will produce the strongest offspring. And by producing the strongest offspring, that gives the offspring the strongest chance to survive to adulthood, so it can reproduce and thereby continue on the genes into another generation. So biologically, this is what's going on. And so when you start interacting with a woman and she communicates that she's interested and you don't notice, or you don't pay attention to it, or you notice it but then you just kind of start dancing around in circles, maybe you get her number, and then over the course of the next several days or a week, you're texting her constantly, texting her back and forth, and then you figure, okay, well, after a week or two of this, now I'm going to ask her out on a date. And more than likely what happens, she'll turn you down, or she'll be kind of not really excited about it, because the opportunity will have been blown, because women know a dominant male when they come in to his presence, because a dominant guy, he sees a woman communicate interest, he's going to take advantage of the opportunity right there on the spot, either get a number or set a date right then and there, or just say, hey, let's go grab a drink over here right now, and take advantage of the opportunity. And that's the key. A lot of guys, it's like they hesitate, because I tell them this stuff, how really ridiculously easy and how playbook your dating, pickup, and relationship life can be, to where it's like the same thing happens with every girl, no matter when you meet her or when you're hooking up. It's the same thing. It always ends up in the bedroom. They do the same things. They respond to the same stimuli. It doesn't matter where they're from. Obviously, there's certain countries where people don't have as much freedom as we do in the United States, and you got religious institutions or state institutions or people in power that are basically sticking their nose where it doesn't fucking belong, which is in the intimate relationships of men and women. It's like, if it's not your own personal relationship and it's two consenting adults, it's none of your fucking business. That's the way I look at it. Freedom comes from the Lord. It does not come from the state, and it doesn't fucking come from man. And that was what our founding fathers that founded the United States of America wrote the Constitution and founded the principles on which our great republic was founded. And that's what I got to say about that. So let's take a look at this. I got an email here from a guy who is a reader, and he knows this particular woman. I guess they play soccer together. And so as they're talking and chatting, she mentions coming over to his house and showing him up, and basically what's going on, which he just, it just went right over his head. What he failed to pick up on was that she's communicating that she likes him, and she feels so comfortable that she's basically bringing up hanging out at his place, or trying to give him the hint, hopefully, that he'll create an opportunity where she can come over and hang out, and hopefully sex will happen, because there's obviously some chemistry between the two of them. But what he basically did is he failed to capitalize on that initial opportunity. And then when he hadn't got her number, but he didn't use the phone to just get right to the point and set up a time to meet for a drink. Instead, he dicks around and he talks back and forth. And this is the shit that I used to do when I was unsuccessful. He's like, you figure I got to talk back and forth a few times, maybe for a week or two, and then kind of she'll start to like me, and then I'll ask her out on a date. It's like, no. What's happened is after a week or two's gone by and you haven't asked her out on a date, she's already determined and you're not worthy and you're not qualified. You totally disqualified yourself and blown the chances. And then guys go, well, she was so hot for me then. It was like, yeah, she was hot for you, and she was hoping that you knew what to do, but instead, since you didn't take advantage of the opportunity, you blew it. So he says, hey, Corey, as always, I appreciate your insight and recommend your book to my friends. I always appreciate the referrals. Thank you. Recently, a woman I play soccer with has shown an interest in me, displaying the sort of behavior which I would say put her in the 50 to 60% range. We would sit and talk between games. She would do most of the talking like, I was watching the game and it was so blah, 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 and you would have loved watching it too. Oh, you climbed stairs to get in shape? Haha, I'm going to have to come over to your place and show you up. And basically what she's saying right then and there in that spot, and you missed it, was, hey, I like you, I'm interested in you, I'd like to come over and hang out at your place. Maybe you should invite me over to come and hang out. And the next thing that I would have done when a woman says something like that to me, I was like, hey, you know what? I was like, why don't we run across the street or down the street, wherever the grocery store happens to be, and grab some food and grab some wine, and we'll go back to my place, it's only a few minutes away, and we'll cook up some dinner. And if she goes, oh, well, I'm going to go home and change and get all cleaned up, and you say, well, that's great. Why don't we take our smelly asses over to the grocery store, get the provisions, get the wine, get the food, and then you can go run back to your place, get all cleaned up. I'll go back to mine. I'll take the food and everything back there, get cleaned up, and you can come over and meet me. Or you can just follow me over there, and you can take a shower at my place, and I got some extra sweatpants and T-shirt and some socks if you want to just bum it and hang out and just chill tonight. That'd be really cool too. So what do you want to do? And then whatever she says, we'll say, let's go get the food first. So you go and you get the food, you take care of it. And what's happening is you're giving her the space to take off and go do something else, because you got to remember, women are like cats. They want to come and go as they please. But more than likely, because this chick's bringing it up, what would happen is she would have said, yeah, sure, that's great. Let's go across the street. And then so you go over there and you pick the food up, and you're like, as you're going up and down the aisles, you're kind of messing with her and teasing her, and she's teasing you. And you're kind of bantering and having fun with each other. And now the fun and the connection that you were having on the soccer field is now moved over to the grocery store. And now she may be standing a little close, touching you, or punching your arm, punching your arm playfully as you're talking. And then, after you spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, you pick out the wine, you pick out what you guys are going to cook, and then you head out over to the checkout line. She's standing really close to you. But because as women feel more comfortable, what happens is she may just stand real close to you while you're in line. You got all the stuff in the little conveyor belt there, and she may lean up against you to the point where, like, her shoulder, or she reaches over and touches your hand, or she puts her head on your shoulder. I mean, you just never know how a woman's going to react, but you got to be watching those things, because when a woman does that, it means, hey, touching is okay, and I like being close to you. And it only means it's that way in that particular moment. It doesn't mean tomorrow or 5 minutes from now or an hour from now. All it means is that's how she feels right now in this moment. And so in that moment, you reciprocate slowly. You can maybe put your hand on her lower back as she's right next to you, and you're smiling, and as she's talking, and while she's doing it, you make eye contact with her eyes, obviously. Then you want to look at her lips, and then into her eyes, and then back down at her lips, and then into her eyes again. And you're just kind of slowly gazing as she's talking. And if she's ready to be kissed, and while you're doing this, she'll look at your lips as well. And if you see her look at your lips, just slowly reach in, pull her close, because you got your hand on her lower back, and just go for the kiss. And a nice little sweet kiss there in line. You know, if she wants to slide you the tongue, cool. Just, you know, have something. It's really sweet and in line. And so now you've already broken the ice with a kiss, and so you're going out to the car and you're kind of playing with each other. Maybe she even decides to leave her car there. Not that you suggest it. You just tell her to follow you back to your place. Because that way you don't have to bring her back in the morning or whatever, that kind of thing. So she follows you to your place, and then, you know, if it was me, 20, 30 minutes by the time we get back to my place, we've got the stuff out. Maybe she jumped in and grabbed a shower or whatever. Or maybe we're just hanging out, kind of unpacking, and then we're making out a little bit more, and we start fooling around, and more than likely, if it was me, 20, 30 minutes later, we're going to be fucking in the kitchen. And then afterwards, we might take a shower together, and then after we get done taking a shower, then we're going to make a meal together, have some wine together. We're both going to be relaxed. You know, we got the pipes all cleaned out, so to speak, and then as you're sitting there laying on your couch naked together after you've made love and now you've made food together, because, you know, maybe you go ahead and cook naked. I mean, it can be fun. You got to be careful if you don't want to burn yourself in some key places, but you move on over to the couch. And then, you know, you're hanging out, you're just finishing dinner, and you're enjoying your wine, and she's touching you and caressing you, and all of a sudden, the general stands back up because he's ready for fucking round two. And so you go and you get it done. And that's, you know, because sex and seduction you basically try to advance the ball, so to speak, you know, taking her bra off and kissing, making out, getting your hand on her pants, until she rebuffs your advances. And when you get rebuffed, that's when you back off and you hang back for a couple of minutes, talk, chat for a little bit while, caress each other. And then you go in for the kiss, start making out, and you try to get a little bit further this time. And you keep doing that. And when she rebuffs you, you got to back off. It's the cat analogy, because each time, if you don't back off, then you're going to ruin her safety and comfort, and then you're going to be ruining attraction. But that's what you do. And a woman wants to feel comfortable through the whole process of seduction, knowing that at any point she can say, wait, stop, this is moving too fast. And you just be cool about it. You don't start apologizing. It's like an intermission in the seduction. And then 2 to 3 minutes go by, and you're talking, and she's laughing about something else that, you know, you made her laugh about. And then you go for the kiss again. You start fooling around, and it gets a little hotter, and you get a little further this time. And it's just back and forth, till eventually you penetrate her, and you're inside, and you're having sex with her. And that's how the process should have evolved. However, what he didn't do, he ends up getting the phone number, and then he says, anyways, after a couple of bantering text messages back and forth over the space of, say, 2 to 3 days, 1 to 2 messages per day, I ask her out. This is on a Tuesday. When you contact a woman, you got to understand, she knows you're contacting her because you like her. And then when you dick around and go through a dozen text messages over 3 or 4 days, you blow it, basically. You communicate that you don't know what the hell you're doing, and that this kind of thing doesn't happen to you very often. Because if you'd have acted like this kind of thing happened to you all the time, you'd be getting laid constantly, and it would be the same process. Doesn't matter what woman it's with. She was busy, so she said, okay, we'll do it another time. That's a great comeback, but you got to notice that she doesn't offer another day for a counter date. So that tells me that her interest is really low at this point. And who knows, she may have had a boyfriend or some other dude she's hooking up with, and you just seem to be doing everything right that night when she suggested it. So maybe, hey, she's willing to go hang out and hook up, have some very casual, easy sex with no strings attached. That's the way women are if you know what to look for. But if you fumble the football like you did here, and so he tried to set up a date on Tuesday, she said no, and so he calls her back like 2 days later. It's like what I tell you in the book to do is wait a whole week. But in this case, he's like, what do I do? It's like you basically blew it. So next time around, be direct, set a date right there in the spot, or if she's mentioning coming over to your house, invite her over to do that, to come over and hang out and cook dinner. I mean, if you've gone on a lot of dates and hooked up with a lot of women and had a lot of great relationships, those things are easy for you because it's the type of thing you do with all women. What do? You hang out and you hook up. Just like you would, it's the type of thing, if one of your buddies wants to hang out and have a beer, hey, bring a six-pack, come over and hang out, we'll get a pizza or whatever. Instead, with a woman, you hang out, you cook dinner together, you have some wine, you have some candles, a little more romantic, obviously, with a chick. And then it always ends up the way it's supposed to.